In this lecture, we will cite a story from the dream of the red chamber to illustrate the teachings. Jia Rui contracted a disease caused by lust and desperately wanted to survive. However, despite taking many medicines, none of them seemed to work. One day, a lame Taoist came to beg for alms and claimed to have a cure for karmic diseases. Upon hearing it in the room, Jia Rui quickly exclaimed, "Please bring that bodhisattva here to save me." He knew the notion of bodhisattva. He said while bowing his head on the pillow, "This indicates that he had roots of virtue." His family had no choice but to bring the Taoist inside. Jia Rui grabbed him and pleaded repeatedly, "Please save me quickly." The Taoist sighed and said, "Your illness cannot be cured with medicine, but I can lend you a treasure. If you gaze at it daily, it can save your life." Then he took out a mirror that reflected on both sides, its handle engraved with the words, "Mirror for the romantic." The Taoist handed it to Jia Rui and said, "This treasure comes from the ethereal hall of the great illusory land, crafted by fairy Jinghuan. It is designed to treat illnesses caused by unwholesome mental activities, serving to heal the world and save lives. I brought it into the world solely for those who are intelligent, elegant, and of noble birth. However, remember this, you can only look at its backside and never gaze at the front. Please bear this in mind. I will come to collect it in 3 days, and by then I assure you, you will recover." After saying these words, he left. Jia Rui took the mirror and thought, "This Taoist is interesting. Why not give it a try?" So he picked up the mirror for the romantic and looked at its backside. To his horror, he saw a skeleton. Jia Rui was frightened and quickly covered it with his hand, cursing, "Damn it, why are you scaring me? I want to see what's on the front." Thus, he turned the mirror around and looked at the forbidden side. In the mirror, he saw the woman he desired beckoning him. Jia Rui felt delighted and entered the mirror, succumbing to his lust. Suddenly, the mirror flipped from his hands, showing a skeleton again. Unsatisfied, Jia Rui flipped it back to the front. Once again, he saw the woman he desired, his karmic creditor, beckoning him from inside the mirror. So, his soul entered the mirror once more. This experience repeated several times. On the surface, it seemed like she came to save him, but in reality, she was going to take his life. So, who is the savior? Ultimately, one must save oneself. The mirror cannot save you. On the final occasion, just as he was about to step out of the mirror, 2 men came and shackled him with iron chains, dragging him away. Jia Rui cried out, "I will follow you, but let me take the mirror with me." These were his last words. The attendant approached and found that Jia Rui had already passed away. His grandparents wept bitterly and cursed the Taoist, saying this demonic mirror must be destroyed. Otherwise, it will do more harm to the world. Then, they ordered servants to throw the mirror into the fire. At that moment, a voice was heard from the mirror saying, "Who told you to look into the wrong side? You perceive illusions as true. Why do you burn me?" While the mirror was crying, the lame Taoist came and said, "Who dares to burn the mirror for the romantic? I will save it." Then he entered the house, seized the mirror, and left. We are bound by greed. Lust is a form of greed. As the saying goes, humans die for wealth, birds perish for food. Greed represents afflictions. It can cost us our lives. When Jia Rui saw his beloved woman, he couldn't help but respond with an inappropriate attitude because he had become accustomed to it in past lives. What is there worth craving? Actually, nothing. But due to his habitual pattern, he immediately aroused desire upon encountering his beloved woman. Inappropriate thoughts emerge instantly, and we may not even notice them. You might think, this person is adorable, but in reality they are not. Your desire makes you believe, this person is so charming. I love them so much. You perceive the person as real, become captivated, and may ultimately pay the price with your life. When desire intensifies, suffering is inevitable. Today's people crave all sorts of things: wealth, sensual pleasures, fame, food, sleep, etc. If you cling to any of them, you are doomed. Once your craving reaches a certain level, you become trapped in it. Therefore, we must reflect on the fact that all forms of attachment, represented by lust, will trap you and lead to suffering and reincarnation. As soon as an object of desire appears, you will respond with unwholesome mental activities. Then you become trapped and feel distressed. Trying to get out of the trap will make you suffer. The only solution is to apply the Buddha's teachings, and the most effective medicine is to meditate on the 3 types of suffering, impermanence, and impurity. In the Sutra of Perfect Enlightenment, the Buddha said, "Births from wombs, eggs, moisture, and transformation all arise from lust. We should know that samsara is rooted in desire." Master Hanshan said, "From beginningless time till today, we have been undergoing countless cycles of birth and death in samsara, all because of desire. Desire is deep-rooted. Hence we remain trapped in the endless cycle of life and death. We learn and practice the Buddha's teachings to break free from the cycle of birth and death and attain liberation from samsara. The root of samsara is desire. Therefore, in our spiritual practice, we should prioritize the work of taming desire. It is hard to free oneself from romantic attachments. Some individuals start dating at a very young age, even before graduating from primary school. How to tame desire? Through mindfulness. The Buddha taught it clearly. Later we can learn it comprehensively. The only way is to apply the right mental mode. It may be difficult at first, but with consistent practice, you will gradually master it. Continuous training is essential. This is combating desire from the root, the karmic habit and seed, nurtured since beginningless time, declaring war on it. Because desire is our enemy, we must fight against it. By applying mindfulness, we can eliminate afflictions. And Arhat said, "Delusion is the root of the 5 desires. The wise do not respond with wrong attitudes, so they transcend desire. Unwholesome thoughts generate attachment, and attachment gives rise to afflictions. With mindfulness free from attachment, one can uproot the remaining afflictions." We are fortunate to have the opportunity to tame afflictions, which is more meaningful than any other activity. Worldly people chase after food, drink, and entertainment, which only nurtures their desires. In contrast, we strive to eliminate desire and other afflictions. Therefore, don't mistake the purpose of spiritual practice. We shouldn't treat receiving ordination and wearing monastic robes as a lifestyle. Renunciation is not for the sake of escaping from annoyances. This intention is incorrect and impure. Some individuals enter monastic life to stay away from people they dislike, some due to divorce, some because they don't like their family members, and some because they are abandoned or betrayed by someone they love. For example, in the dream of the Red Chamber, a girl loved Liu Xiaonian, but he misunderstood her and she took her own life. Thus, he cut off his hair with a sword and became a monk. Many people who read this story think that all monastics are like this. However, unlike Xiaonian, Jia Baoyu renounced worldly life after truly seeing through it. He even took the imperial examination and fulfilled his last filial piety before renunciation. In the end, Baoyu did see through the mundane world. We are not escaping from annoyance. If one enters monastic life with such a mindset, they will arouse new afflictions. After joining the monastic order, you may find that even here is not tranquil. As a result, you will generate greater afflictions. How can you perceive it as flawless? You are bound by afflictions. Hence, when you enter the monastic community, You observe others' faults and generate even greater afflictions. You haven't rectified your karmic habits. This is the most terrible thing for a monastic. Previously, you only observed the faults of worldly people, but now you observe the faults of fellow monastics. You are in trouble? Therefore, don't enter monastic life for the sake of escaping from annoyance. We must have genuine renunciation. Those who truly wish to be liberated from the cycle of birth and death won't observe others' faults. You don't even have the time to liberate yourself from samsara, so how could you have time to look at others' faults? Therefore, as monastics, we must be strict with ourselves. We don't ask lay people to do the same, but we encourage them to cultivate renunciation and bodhicitta. I haven't urged everyone to forsake secular life. As I said, it would be wonderful if 1 in 1,000 people could renounce worldly life. Some people misunderstand me and think I am urging everyone to become monastics. That is not true. When some individuals apply for ordination, I decline and suggest they get married instead. Someone asked me, can I become a monastic? I replied, you'd better get married. If you want to cultivate renunciation, marriage is the best way. He cannot arouse renunciation or forsake worldly life. This suggestion doesn't apply to everyone, but for some individuals, entering marriage can boost their renunciation quickly. Everything depends on causes and conditions, and we should follow them accordingly. Becoming a monastic is certainly good, but not everyone has the fortune.